Hello, I'm Paul Pluta from Paul Pluta Prestige, and today we're going to review the Rolex DateJust 16013. And the 16013 is a very significant model in the Rolex range. The 16013 was a two-tone replacement to the two-tone 1601. The time the 16013 came in was the late 70s, early 80s. The reason I'm vague on this date here is because Rolex was very reluctant to release official dates of when products were released because they didn't want to hurt existing stock in existing retailers. So it was kind of phased in. And the 16013 is a version of DateJust that proved to be incredibly popular. The 16013 ran from the late 70s up until the late 80s, when it was replaced by the 16233. The 16013, as I've stated, is a two-tone. It's a steel and gold piece, and it had a movement which had the much waited and anticipated quick set function. This allowed the user to change the date rapidly by undoing the crown and pulling the stem out and adjusting it. Now, this was quite a significant improvement over previous DateJust, which traditionally used a 1570 movement, and the quick set function itself was a huge selling point. The 16013 retained the plastic glass, which is quite interesting because the same time the 16013 came out onto the market, the date, the solid gold version of this type of piece was released in the late 70s with sapphire. So it's very interesting to see Rolex's decision to delay putting a sapphire crystal on the men's DateJust. The plexiglass itself is quite a nice feature, but comparing modern pieces with modern pieces, a sapphire crystal is streets above. The interesting thing, 16013s, they are very robust, and they're a great Rolex for everyday use. 16013s were available in 14 karat and 18 karat. The way to tell the difference is on the shears on the actual bracelet itself. This is where the clasp is. It'll have dash 14 for 14 karat or dash 18 for 18 karat. The 14 karat was mainly an item which was sold into the US market. It kept the price a bit cheaper, and it also differentiated the product. 18 karat, however, is the replacement and current model, and Rolex has since ditched 14 karat. But the 16013, during its time, proved to be a hugely successful Rolex. And the two-tone pattern, its heyday, can really be attributed to the mid-70s up until the late 80s. Fashion is fickle, and it certainly has changed, and now many makers like Audemars Piguet have dropped two-tone lines for either solid gold or steel versions. And this is quite an interesting development, but I suspect two-tone will always remain in the Rolex range, and other makers will bring it in and drop it as fashion dictates. Okay, let's have a look at the scoring for the Rolex 16013. For the brand itself, we're going to give it a 7. For the status in the range, another 7. For the movement, we're going to give it a 7. The overall finishing quality, another 7. The Paul Pluta Prestige rating, another 7, giving us a score of 35. The Rolex 16013 gets a score of 35. Thank you.